We're 100 days from the election now, less than. I have a hard time believing the Wayfair thing based on the Russia. Mostly anything dealing with Russia, I have a hard time to believe.
You fill 1,700 pages, and maybe you'll want to write more of them. I mean, everything we're talking about, you could have a page and a half.
And maybe they'd read more of them too.
Yeah.
Because the long form discussion is taking over these news segments, are taking over these spoon-fed, prepackaged media sound bites that we get every day.
Media. Yep.
Do you think anyone on the left should have been blamed for this?
The insurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire media.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 85 of The Weekly Show. All of the week's hottest topics with a twist. To catch all of the episodes of The Weekly Show, make sure you follow us on stupid YouTube or dumb Facebook. And if you really want to watch the show, you should follow us on Rumble, because Rumble's way better. If you're watching this on stupid ass YouTube and dumb Facebook? If you're watching on one of those two horrible platforms, you can like the video there, comment on the video, and Rumble the video if you're watching on Rumble, which is the superior platform, the actual platform. If
the real platform.
If you can't tell, there is saltiness in the air here. We haven't been kicked off of Facebook or YouTube or anything.
Well, we've just had videos taken down.
Well, we have had that. I don't know, Ryan, at what point, I don't even know how to start the sentence. I'm so disgusted with big tech and these alleged platforms. Ryan, I'm just going to put it this way. I did some research, okay?
What kind of research did you do, Dave?
I just wanted to see general numbers. Just a general numbers game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, obviously, Meta, right? Meta and YouTube are bigger than Rumble. They just are. YouTube, apparently, this was as of recent as January this year, YouTube has 122 million viewers daily. Which is a lot. It's actually more than I expected.
It's a third of America, basically.
Right. And Meta has 2.9 billion people on their platform. 2.9 billion people. That's half of planet Earth, basically. I mean, close. That's crazy. That's insane how many people are on the Meta, which is obviously why, they want to use the Meta to control narratives. Rumble, so remember, YouTube has 122 million daily. Rumble, the best guess, I guess you could say they have, is 39 million per month. So it's not even close.
Absolutely.
I'm not using this as proof, Ryan, and everybody watching, but wouldn't it be a fair assumption that the platform that had 2.9 billion people and the one that has 122 million people daily, wouldn't you suspect you would have more viewership on the much larger platforms? Especially considering on Facebook we have 10,000 followers, and on YouTube we have whatever subscribers, like 54, but it doesn't matter. And on Rumble, at the time of this one video, we had 4 followers. One was me, one was Ryan's dad. Keep in mind all of this information, because on Rumble, we literally just had a video. It got 400 views, which doesn't sound like a lot. Obviously, there's bigger places than us. I understand that. But the thing is, how does the same video on YouTube, which we all agree is a much larger platform, have 40 views, and one on Facebook where we have 10,000 people following our page has like 130 views? Like, it doesn't even make, like, the logic of everything doesn't make sense.
And they always say they attribute it to the algorithm, right? And what you like and all these other things. But I mean, there's something in particular that's super high profile now, which I happened to catch earlier in the gutter this week. But yeah, it's when certain things are said, they're pushed down and they've been caught, and they're not going to come out and say it and admit it. but it is a little suspect because you would assume that something with that much volume, what is the old saying that a rising tide raises all ships? So I would assume that would happen with viewership and subscriptions, especially on Facebook, especially considering I've talked about how me privately, I used to get more on my videos and then I got less, and it was right after the election. They obviously talked about it. They've obviously have taken a certain person off of the internet, it seems, overnight, depending on the scenario. So it's just crazy to see them in real time crash course and disrupt anything they like. And just simply label it as misinformation, which isn't even a real thing. Fact checking is not real. They've openly said it in court. Mark Zuckerberg, when asked in court in front of Congress or whatever commissionary hearing it was that no one cares about, he said, no, it's just opinions. These are just opinion people. Davis brought up about people getting appointed to positions with global influence. And so these are global narratives. These are from global multinational corporations. So, yeah, these are corporate communism talking points that we're seeing. And honestly, like, it sounds dumb. And like you said, Dave, there's bigger people. Crowder, for example, has been fighting legal battles with YouTube for quite a while now. Many, probably his whole YouTube career, really, when he started really doing well for himself. And it's the most anti-American thing ever. That's why it's so crucial that, like, people, I was thinking of this, like, if Rumble's providing us this lane to get access to people that necessarily would have not been reached because the other platforms are just naturally suppressive because of their massive algorithm, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Sure. There's just so much political content on YouTube, it's hard just to get seen.
Far too much.
Yeah, we'll see. Especially right-leaning, even though they say it favors right-leaning things, but what do I know? So, yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but having them be seen on other platforms and see their growth, like, organically, and getting followers organically, not having to pay for ad revenue on these big platforms, which Dave has done personally, has tried to boost our page through ads, and honestly, he found that it was better to do it naturally because it's just the way it works. It's the way you beat, quote, the algorithm. So yeah, to see us flourish on these pages, like, just even though it's this one video, a couple hundred views, once again, but no, it's like literally anti-American. This country was found on, the First Amendment is why this country was founded. The freedom of religion, the freedom of press, the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of redress of grievance, the freedom of, like, all that.
It's the first one for a reason.
And they're all on the first one. They're not separate ones. They're all, like, they're basically considered all the exact same thing. The basic thing of, like, everything non-violent, that's freedom. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is the violent freedom. That's why it's the shortest, because you tried all the other ways on the first one, which is why it's the first one.
The second one is for when the government takes over the other freedoms, right? That's the whole point of the second one.
And this is where they found the legal corporate loophole, right? Because it's not the government suppressing freedom of speech. Even though these platforms have worked directly with the government, they literally have said it in White House press briefings that they're going to work with these platforms. They're going to appoint people in positions with global influence and know how global governments work. Come on.
Yeah, they're going to delete people like Donald Trump off Twitter and, quite frankly, off YouTube, as you saw.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I caught that when it was so early. That was like a seed when I seen that, and I got that pushed to me through the algorithm, the Full Send podcast with Donald Trump, which no longer is on the internet for, quote, misinformation. When I listened to it, and I was going to come here on this very podcast and say my Decembertainment for the week was listening to the old president, how much I missed his rhetoric and all this stuff, and, like, how some of the stuff he was saying, like, some of it made sense and some of it probably needed to be looked into and all this. Sure, but they just straight deleted it. And he called it. He actually said, we'll see how you react when they delete this. I never was a follower of Full Send Podcast. I don't even know who the guys are. I think they're funded by Dana White or something. They know Dana White. I don't know. I literally know nothing. I know more about the guy they had on than they did. And it just happened to get flooded to me because of the algorithm on YouTube. I caught it when I had 1 million views, and by the time it hit 7 million, it was pulled from the internet. And I watched it in its entirety. I shared it to David, and I shared it to the December chat and a couple other friends, and only one of them was able to see it because it was pulled before that. Mm-hmm. So what is this telling us? Now do we have to gobble up every piece of information? What did they say about the burning books when they were talking about how, with critical race theory, how there's these Republican-led states that are trying to ban certain books that tell the horrors of slavery or whatever, right? And they're saying that I think it was, who's the The It guy, Stephen King. Yeah, Stephen King says you need to go run out and buy these books, right? Because when they're burning books, when they're telling you you can't have these books, you need to have them more now
Which no
than
one's
ever.
telling them. No one on the right is saying you can't read these books. We're just saying maybe this isn't school appropriate.
Yeah, for children, remind you, because children are to be seen, not heard. I know that's misogynistic. But yeah, they're telling you that if they're banning information, you need to have the information, but they can ban Donald Trump's information for, quote, misinformation. But I'm not supposed to go run and gravitate to that side naturally. If you're trying to oppress it, your same logic is now terroristic. So, yeah, the reason we're making a big deal about it is this is literally anti-American, and this is the corporate communist takeover of the country, and this is how they have done it, is through corporations. I did not mean to, I don't want to jump to this quick, but I'll say this. When I talked about World War III and it coming here and all this, we're going to be there. I mean, I'm already seeing, I'll get to a little later, a story I have at the store, but we're seeing things disappearing and getting smaller and all these other things. So I'm not saying that you're going to go to a point that there's only going to be one toothpaste, one type of coffee, one type of cereal, one type of this. We're not going to have variety. And it's just going to be corporate communism. It's only going to be Folgers coffee. There's going to be no Maxwell House. There's going to be no other things but Crest. It's just going to be Crest. The same Crest.
Bernie Sanders was all up in arms because there were so many types of deodorants.
That's terrible. Maybe because everybody's an individual.
Certain people need different kinds of deodorant, Ryan. That's why there's different types. The free market will provide. The government would tell you, I don't know, use this kind. If it doesn't work, that sucks.
The government would tell you that, like, the raw shoe smell is normal. Limited stock.
I couldn't imagine.
Due to high demand. Due to high demand. Are you sure it's not the limited stock that's going around?
So on the same, and we've talked about government colluding with big tech before, but this is
literally going around the First Amendment in the court of law to suppress freedom of speech in this country. The very thing this country was. That is terroristic.
So this is something that I haven't quite seen yet, but this is interesting. The White House is apparently briefing TikTok stars about the war in Ukraine. And the reasoning is, with millions getting their information about the war from the platform, the administration wants to get its message to top content creators.
Approved messages.
The Biden-Harris Obama administration is contacting top creators at TikTok with big followings and saying, this is the information. This is the information. Who else do they do with this with? They do it with the media. They do it with big tech platforms. Now they're doing it with actual content creators. I know this sounds silly, but this is actually a big deal. I mean, this is the government pushing.
Imagine getting a phone call saying that, no, you have to say this. Because that's the next step.
And here's the thing.
This is actually exactly, I know I talked about in this show, the dangers about having no privacy, is that people are just going to self-censor by default. There's no more blackmailing. They'll just hold shit over your head because they have everything already on you. And this is exactly what this is. They're going to feed them paychecks, and then when they have enough paychecks on, given out, they're going to be like, well, if you don't, we're just going to rip all your government contract money away. Because now they're government contractors. These people are government contractors. They're literally the thought police. That's literally the thought police in George Orwell's 1984.
What was
state sponsored and media at the individual they're literally called influencers. You follow them.
What was the name? I don't remember the name of the.
You follow us. You follow these people, and they're paying them to tell you certain things. If that was a corporation do it, what would we hear? If that was the oil companies, what would you hear? That's big oil.
Yeah.
Government, though, about a war in a different country. Apparently it's European. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was European.
Well, it is now.
How it is.
So I guess that's something, before we started the show, I was briefing you on some of the things I wanted to go over. And I forgot. I know everyone's doing this, and you can go on Facebook and see pictures of it and everything, but we need to talk about oil and gas prices in this country.
I'm sick and tired of talking about it, but yeah.
I know, but you did a video about it, and we did a post about it, and I don't think enough people understand how oil and gas prices work. There's not enough understanding on how a barrel of oil goes from the ground to a pump and the price that comes out of it.
Well, people think there's more oil than we need all the time. That's not how it works. Like, literally, there's supply, demand, the winter and spring gas. That's not bullshit. It's not greed. It's not greed. Like, yeah, maybe. Maybe. You know what? Yeah, there's so much to it. It's not easy. Like, it takes a long time.
So I think
everything's expensive. The money is devalued. Like, what? Like, that alone will make the oil price crazy, let alone the OPEC war that happened 2 years ago before the magical, non-existent thing that I won't ever discuss again.
So I think what people think is there's oil in the ground. We drill it, kill a bunch of rare, extinct animals.
Frogs,
right?
mostly.
Frogs. Before they're turned gay, of course. They kill all the animals. They take the oil out of the earth.
It's sacred Indian burial ground.
And then some fat CEO of an oil company with a big cigar in his mouth goes, puffing smoke everywhere. $200 a barrel. It's not how it happens. It isn't how it happens. There's a group of it's based on speculation, right? So what do they speculate based on, Ryan? They don't just fucking pick a number out of a hat.
I assume they speculate based on the time of the year, what's going on in geopolitics, what president's in office, what is getting passed, if there's discoveries of new reserves, if there's new technology that would make one of these types of fuels obsolete, or the constant battle to try to make this thing better, right? That we should use less oil. We should actually try to make more efficient oil on top of using less oil. Like, all these drives of what capitalism provides, the ability to get better, at least the framework for it, the idea of it. Yeah, that all that drives that, and then not to mention the cost of labor. I mean, what else happened during the pandemic? That dumb little ship that just went and jacked up everything magically. I forgot that happened. But just one ship, just one magic ship crashed into the beach and shacked the whole world on top of everything else. Yeah, that they got to ship the thing. They got to pay people. Nobody's working, right? The labor shortage I'm hearing about with artificial numbers, apparently. Yeah, so. Exactly. Literally everything in the world goes into oil. Right. So to say it's not like because of the president is kind of fucking retarded. Seriously. You knew exactly what was that video you're referencing. I did the TikTok video. We knew anybody that pays halfway attention knew the stuff they were talking about during the campaign would directly affect oil prices.
That is correct.
Maybe not directly, like Joe Biden's out there changing the numbers, like saying, I did that.
Right, but yeah, Biden's not on a ladder somewhere at a gas station, flipping the 2 to a 3 and a 3 to a 4 and a 4 to a 5.
He's not on a ladder, he's disabled.
But they're yeah, I saw him try to go upstairs. I couldn't manage a ladder. So their policies, though, indirectly affect gas prices.
But what about wars that magically happen because the president may look, quote, weak to some nations? I wonder why. And then now they're just going to, we buy oil from Russia, and then we're having sanctions on Russia. Literally read in the newspaper that says it's going to affect energy prices, but then I'm told that the president doesn't help affect energy prices. Well, at least not oil prices. Well, where do we get electricity from? Coal and natural gas. What is natural gas, David? It's a vapor. Okay, do we get any oil from them? Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, these people, they provide our energy and then they're going to war. It's everything. Everything affects oil. To think it doesn't is dumb. Your property taxes affect oil. Like, literally, the gas station will charge you more money in a different county in New York State because of property taxes, because of the sin tax of freaking gasoline. So don't tell me it's not it's more of the state of New York's fault too. To go full circle, New York fucks over gas prices worse than the president does. If we're having this conversation, these guys are so greedy. It goes all to the transportation department for hole-filled roads. This is it's all bureaucracy that drives this price.
Yeah. So I guess to pull everything together, there is just too many things that affect oil price, but behind all of them is political policy. And behind some of the oil prices is yes, the oil company, believe it or not, is in business to make a profit. And yes, the guy at the gas station does get a couple of cents on every gallon. And yes, somebody has to drive it from wherever to the station. Yes, it has to be refined. And yes, there's a lot of things to it. Yes, oil companies are getting rich on oil. Sure, that's why you go into business. Who else is getting rich on oil? People in government. Why? Because they want to take your money.
Dude, they're talking about going to foreign oil supplies. I heard Obama in 2008 talk about we need to get off energy dependence from foreign countries. And now we're told we have to do it because of frogs and Indian burial grounds. And we're going to go, to Venezuela, where there's straight communism, where these people... Literally, it doesn't make sense. We have to buy our oil back again? Now, granted, under the previous administration, we didn't have a surplus that we could only run on American oil. That's not what I'm saying. But we were selling oil, and oil was cheap at that time.
Which Biden tried to take credit for recently.
How? It happened under the former guy.
When he was talking about taking money away from, or not buying, when he's banning buying oil from Russia. He took credit for the fact that America was so energy independent and they were exporting, the leading exporter in oil. Well, that has nothing to do with you. You were stopping that.
Yeah, by halting an international
and he said, well, all these oil companies, they have all these permits. They could be drilling now. Why aren't they drilling? I don't know. Probably because they're terrified of the person in office shutting their business down. Why were they drilling under Trump?
Do you remember that big thing he had? He had that big stack of papers that showed regulations, and he cut it with a big bow. And everybody's like, oh, he's freaking crazy. But Andrew Cuomo had a freaking paper mache flatten the curve thing, and everybody applauded him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so,
come on. Yeah, these people know what they're doing.
Yes, that is correct. And the narratives are going to be driven to you. And all of this stems from the fact that we did a Facebook post talking about cutting off Russian oil and how is that going to affect oil prices, but Keystone won't? And everyone, Keystone was just crude tar and it was getting sent to Mexico. Listen, we're talking about global supply and demand of oil. Whether that goes from Canada to Mexico or Canada to U.S. or U.S. to everywhere else, it doesn't entirely matter. It matters enough. But the fact that there would be more global oil supply, the speculation on the oil would drive the prices down. As soon as they shut it off, you saw oil prices go up. That's not Russia. That was 2 years ago. Yes, it's going to spike now because of Russia. 2 years ago, we've been seeing the oil price go up. Why? What changed? Green New Deal? Biden-Harris, Obama administration? It's not a coincidence. There are no conspiracies, but there are no coincidences.
Well, once again, yeah, Dave, you like hit it, because oil is a global market. There's not enough for any country. Any country that's civilized does not have enough energy in its own country to make it for their people to live. That's why there's a global trade of oil.
And
because we all need it. We're all like, all right, I can produce this. We can produce this. Like Russia's built whole sectors to provide whole areas of Europe with power, because that's how Russia can make its money, to get out of poverty. That capitalistic approach.
Ryan, I think we've talked about on this program Germany and their solar energy, how they have to sell all their power at a loss because
they can't store it or something, right?
Correct.
Like when it's generated at like its highest rate or whatever, the batteries can only take so much, so they have to like just dump it for nickels.
But essentially the theory is the same. It's supply and demand. They're supplying too much for the demand. So what do? They just sell it off at a loss. They don't. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Anytime there's supply and demand, it's basic economics. Trust the economics.
Only 17 Nobel Peace Prize winners, though. Not the other 80.
And
then the thousands of other ones that you don't ask.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about
My history teacher was super right-leaning Republican. I wonder why. Guy read every history book ever, and he was grew up in 1930. Huh.
You know what I noticed in schools, in public schools, obviously? Every teacher was super liberal except two.
Economics and history.
Economics and history were always Republicans, conservatives, something. They just knew government was up to no good.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute.
We've seen this before.
The government's 2% inflation every year. The bank gives me 3%, but the stock market gives me 10%.
Ryan, I had pre-warned you before the show started. I wanted to talk about Bill Maher being right twice. We've talked about Bill Maher before in this program. Obviously,
He was on Shapiro, right?
He's been on Shapiro. Was he on again recently?
I believe so.
Okay.
HBO guy. I'm thinking of the right guy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So here's the thing with Bill Maher. This guy is not a right-leaning Republican by any means. He's been a classic liberal his entire life. He's a stand-up comedian. He was very funny. He's not some far-right guy. So but he uses his head and says things that comes to his head, and he asks logical questions. He asked this question. This is a quote. Okay, but if Putin thought Trump was really supportive of him, why didn't he invade when Trump was in office? Is this not a good question? If Trump was backed by the Russians, right? Wouldn't that be the time to do this, right? Like the biggest superpower in the world says, go for it. Nothing would be stopping them. Why would they wait till Biden, who's super tough on Russia? Why would they wait for Biden to get in office?
I can answer that if it was still on the internet, because he talked about it on that podcast that apparently no one can hear anymore. I literally heard something that doesn't exist.
Is it on Rumble?
No, I don't know. They have like clips of it on their Instagram, but like its entirety on YouTube I think they only drop on YouTube or something.
That's a shame. They need to learn to go to Rumble. The whole thing would still be there. I'm sure that it was. It would have been recorded. I'm sure they have it stored. If they're interested, they can go to Rumble and upload it. It'll still be there.
The point is, it was going mega viral. Everybody was going to see it, and they deleted it, so it didn't, because he was on fucking fire. But he talked about that because he told Putin, "Don't do it. I'll hit you harder than you've ever been hit before."
But he's complimenting Putin, Ryan. Didn't you hear him talking about what a genius Putin is?
Yeah, he's kind of a genius.
Yeah. What is he supposed to say? This world leader who is the head of a KGB, like we talked about last week. This guy's a super dummy.
Super
spy. A real big dummy.
This guy's
leading Russia.
Super spy. Yeah, he's an idiot.
No, I used to do this when I was really young, right? Like, I'd hear things going on in government and be like, wow, those people must be idiots. No, they're not idiots. We've learned now these people know exactly what they're doing. Putin's not an idiot. He's smart. He should be treated as a smart person. And that's the only way you're going to fight him correctly. If you just assume he's a dumbass, you're not going to have any good strategy. Like, oh, he's a dumbass. He'll just fall on his face. No.
When you are strong, act as if you are weak. The art of war.
We did get a little off topic. Bill Maher. Bill Maher right twice.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Bill Maher also had some words about the, quote, "Don't say gay" bill.
Dave, is that what it's really called?
No.
I didn't think so. So why are we calling it that?
Narratives.
It's not political, though, right?
Well, we want it to seem like it's anti-gay, not pro-pedophile. Just saying. So here's what we saw about Bill Maher, and if I don't know if anyone's ever watched the show. It's a pretty good show. He usually has some diverse panels on, and Bill Maher goes either way. You know, he's still a Democrat at heart, but I think he knows that the left has gone too far left.
He doesn't want to get lynched, you know.
No, I don't think. Honestly, as a classic liberal comedian, I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I know, but dude, artists at some point know it's about self-preservation when they start cutting across. I mean, an artist's job is to cut across the common grain to begin with. So for him to seem like he's breaking with the Democrats when it's really just him following his beliefs, that's something he is inherently designed as an artist to do in general. So to him, he's just like, no, this is who I am. But it's just super, being outside of like his fan base, I guess I could say, it's just super cool to see him die on his principles, which is something we always talk about, right? Like that whole, the pursuit of like, I'd rather, stand on your feet, man.
Yeah, and I don't always agree with him, but I do respect him for sure. I mean, he's kind of he's a lot like a Jon Stewart, honestly. He's definitely not quote on our side, but at the same time, listen, he is who he is, and he's gonna say what he wants to say, and that's because that's him, and I respect the hell out of that for sure, even if I disagree with him a lot of the time, which I do. Left-leaning comedian Bill Maher defended the Florida bill that critics have unfairly labeled, quote, "Don't say gay," arguing during the overtime portion of Friday night's episode of Real Time with Bill Maher that it was reasonable to believe kids in early elementary school should not be, quote, thinking about sex at all.
That's weird.
Which is really what it boils down to. Maher discussed the issue with New York Times columnist Frank Bruni and Newsweek's Batya Ungar Sargon. Pretty wild name. And he pointed to the fact that the bill does not actually ban saying gay at all and clearly addresses only classroom instruction for children in pre-kindergarten through third grade regarding gender identity and sexual orientation. It literally, in case you read the "don't say gay" name that the media is giving it and think, ooh, they're not allowing kids to say gay, that's not at all what's happening. It's very, very specific bill. Maher introduced the segment by saying he was going to bring in some discussion questions that had been submitted to the show. Quote, I'm glad somebody asked this. Is Florida's Don't Say Gay bill designed to trap Democrats into saying they support teaching young children about sexuality is the question?
Yes, that's exactly what that bill is designed to do.
Ron DeSantis, and I know it's being brought to Ron DeSantis and he's going to sign it. I don't think he's officially signed it yet, but he's going to sign it. He's Ron DeSantis. But the politicians of Florida are not dummies. This is hilarious because that's exactly what they're doing. We're talking about very young kids, as always with this stuff. It's not like there's no kernel of truth. Maybe kids that young shouldn't be thinking about sex at all. I don't think it's specific. And they go on and they battle him and which guy, Bruni, I think. We're battling over it, and Bruni's coming out and saying, well, I'm a gay man who advocates for gay rights, and listen, it's not about gay rights at all.
Dave, this just shows what people don't know, because isn't it already illegal to discriminate against somebody based on their gender identity?
Well.
All right, so by default, our elected officials know that they can't make any laws that go against that because it's illegal.
I suppose that's correct. You know what I'm trying to figure out, Ryan?
What? Why electric heaters are so loud?
Yeah, I got a loud electric heater. Can you hear it?
No, that's why I turned mine off. That's why I muted.
If this bill is about gender identity and sexual orientation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The left is coming out. It's the Don't Say Gay bill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just teaching about the idea of sexual identity and gender. So straight white male is also something that the teacher should not be instructing students on.
Or how about toxic masculinity?
Like these are, it goes both ways. It's not only discriminating against gay people. It's not saying like, don't talk about being gay, which is what they want you to think. But that's not what it is. It's only on the idea of sexual orientation and gender identity. And this is only from pre-K to third grade, which means a fourth grader, I suppose under this bill, a fourth grader, he can talk to him about gender identity and sexual orientation, which in my opinion is still too young.
Yeah, imagine you and I driving outside of middle school and having a questionnaire that was highly similar to that.
It would be very creepy.
It'd be super creepy. We wouldn't be walking, talking, or breathing.
Why is this creepy guy by my sixth grader talking about gender identity and sexual orientation? You straight or gay? Just wondering.
You slap a United States Department of Education bumper sticker on the car. I'm fine, though. I got a permit here. Walking around like clipboard and a hard hat at a high school. Hi, kids.
Well, I'm sure if anything happened, they could just tear the school down in a day or so.
They do that all the time.
Well, at least one time.
You know, just think about all the money that you're willingly spending to forget that ever happened.
You know, Ryan, I got to be honest, and not to bring Rumble back, but I feel so free being on Rumble. I feel like we can actually just do our show, and if it gets kicked off of YouTube, who cares?
It's already kicked off YouTube. These aren't going to be around forever. I won't be able to like go to my grandkids and be like, yeah, on YouTube, I've heard this podcast, we got a couple of views. And they go here and be like, oh my God, Grandpa, it's actually kind of doing okay. I'll be like so frail from GMO that I won't be able to stand up.
Let's be honest, Ryan, you won't have to stand up. You'll be in the meta talking.
Oh, the fuck I will. Dude, VR, I'm not getting in there.
I'm telling you, you'll love it. You really would.
It's
At
why
least
I'm
for a
not,
gaming experience, you would enjoy it.
that's why I'm not going in there. I won't leave. Be like, no. My house will be getting evicted. I'll be still inside. You know, like.
Brian, I'll be honest with you. This is where my portion of the show is over. I don't have much more.
Oh, dude, can you pull up that text message I sent you about science and politics getting smashed together, and how they're not going to
science and politics?
Yeah, I forget. I sent. It might have been a little too long ago, but it came back. I sent you a news article that talked about how science has been politicized, and they don't know if they'll ever be able to untangle it, basically. And it's kind of funny because we've been hearing about trusting science, and then now we're hearing about it being tangled politics. When it was
here's the screenshot for everybody, just in case. Full send podcast Ryan sent to me. Will it even remotely attempt to zoom on that? No.
Nah.
Okay. No. At least I tried. It's the full send podcast. Ryan sent it to me. You know what was blowed as a suggested video? Joe Rogan.
That's why I think I got it though, like because I follow Rogan.
Oh, science journalism shifted with new realities. Is that the one?
I think so.
It is no longer possible to separate science and politics. It's no longer possible, Ryan.
It's no longer possible. We can't be objective at all, even though science is about being objective.
It is about being the most objective, about having no narratives, no narratives at all, going in totally open-minded and watching the facts happen.
It's literally so anti-opinion that they have a 7-step process called the hypothesis. I'm sorry, I already fucked it
Scientific
up.
theory.
The scientific method, and it was invented by the ancient Greeks and stuff. So let's not trust our awesome ancient wisdom from Western culture that was boiled down to the Bible and then kicked everybody else's ass because their story sucked.
And here's the thing, Ryan. Because of the scientific method, right? And some people use this to point out how science has been wrong in the past, which is okay. Science is allowed to be wrong. That's the beauty of science.
It's political, though.
That's the beauty of science. Without any driving force, when new facts arise, you just shift. Okay, well, this is the fact now. Earth used to be flat. You're going to fall off it. Holy shit. It's round. Oh, my God. Well, we got it wrong. Oh, well, it's round now. The sun revolves around the Earth. Oh, shit, it's the other way around. Everything's revolving around the sun. Okay, cool. New facts. Now we know. Imagine if narratives were driving these, though. What if a big media came out and said, nope, it's flat. No, it's round. Clearly, we can see that it's round. Nope, flat. We're not changing it.
Depending on who you ask, they say that about the church. They suppressed humanity. That's why science was birthed, was to prove God wrong. Oh, so the narrative at the time needed to be disproved and the tyrannical idea needed to be dismantled. Let's censor the thing that allows it to fucking happen. But then claim we're an open platform. That's like getting mugged. It's like getting mugged by your wife, and then when you go home for dinner, she acts like nothing happened.
It's like, was that you? It looked a lot like you. Nope, wasn't me.
They made Batman books about this, to be honest. Something very similar to that. Long Halloween, great story. Speaking of Batman...
Did you finally see it?
No.
What are you speaking of Batman, then?
The World Health Organization advises Ukraine to destroy any, quote, high-threat pathogens to prevent spread from the Russians moving in.
That was your segue for speaking of Batman.
That's some shit Batman would do.
He would tell Ukraine to destroy pathogens?
No, he'd probably break in and steal the pathogens before Ukraine realized, and then the WHO would have to cover it up by saying we have to destroy these labs, even though they're destroying the evidence of Batman being in there and stealing the pathogen to begin with.
I'm taking the pathogen.
Where
is the pathogen? Where is it?
It's the only thing that can bring down Superman. Like, don't you have kryptonite? Yeah, I need 7 more rays. You never know. His shit's stashed everywhere, like kryptonite lightsabers. Anyways. I bring that up, the WHO and the Ukraine thing. My father was talking to me about it the other week. I think he might have referenced it on this podcast. I told him I don't care because I definitely believe that's possible. And I told him, I'm like, I believe it, but it sounds crazy, right? Like, you're not going to hear it in the media. I understand why. I know why they're not talking about it. But I saw it now, 3 weeks later after he told me. It's not a conspiracy anymore. The World Health Organization had a word about it. So these people know what they're doing. The internet won. They're destroying it. Speaking of Ukraine, the Senate passed some $1.3 trillion bill. I'm sure that's not going to do anything to all the current prices going on in the world that I'm so tired of talking about.
Is part of that releasing more of our barrel oil supply? 2 or 3 days to drive the prices down?
It's less than a day, as the former president said.
Hmm.
And that stock was for our military, which he filled under his presidency. But nobody can hear that part of the podcast because it's actually deleted from the whole face of the internet.
It's off of YouTube.
Yeah, which is like the whole, basically the whole streaming internet, correct, David?
Yeah,
billions of users.
122 million a day, but
I'm
was
sure
it banned on Facebook too? Were they on Facebook? It's only 2.9 billion people on Meta that can't see that. Only 122 million people a day that can't see it on YouTube.
Well, considering YouTube and Facebook normally bat the same political narrative, I would assume it's not on Facebook. I'm assuming you couldn't even go on Facebook without Facebook flagging it before it was posted.
That's weird. They should go on Rumble.
Yeah, there was Ukraine funding in the Senate bill.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, it's not war though. We're not at war. Remember when Trump said Putin was kind of smart, and then Putin said that these economic sanctions are acts of war, and then everyone was like, no, it's fine. And now we're giving $1.3 trillion billion dollars to.
Sanctions on China was hurting the American dollar, and it was an act of war against Xi Jinping. But Russia, doing it to Russia, it's applauded, and we should be willingly paying more for gas to help the people of Russia, even though we're just sending over our tax dollars, when I always hear about how everything's underfunded in America. I literally drive by bridges that are cracked in half almost, it looks like. We had bridges collapse when the president was in the very same town at the very same time.
There are no conspiracies, but there are also no coincidences.
I haven't heard shit about that bridge, by the way. They're probably this is probably better this way, that we don't have this bridge in the city with the most bridges in America.
I'm sure they put it in the same hole Sandy Hook's school went to.
Dude, can you imagine the funding to remove that? Like, how expensive was that? That wasn't one contract company. Like it was dude, that had to be military. They probably used the military.
They wouldn't use the military to do private industry work, like nurses,
or
bus drivers, teachers.
Oh, it's because of the staffing shortages that we caused by giving everybody money to stay home and closing businesses.
People, I feel this is why you need to watch our show on the regular every Monday at 7, because I'm telling you, we say some things way before it happens, and then we go back to it, and it's always so obvious.
Yeah, all those things sound crazy separately, but together they make sense because they're all real. Like, I can't believe it happened. We watched it. We called it. I mean, I said this was re-education camp a month into the pandemic, 2 years to flatten the curve. And here I am about the whole vaccine things, and then they magically give it up when there's going to be millions of people in trucks right outside at the State of the Union. Our kids have to stop wearing a mask the day after the State of the Union, but they couldn't do it on Monday.
Here's the question, Ryan. What's going on with the Freedom Convoy in Canada?
I don't know. You don't hear about it now, do you?
It's weird. You think if I Googled it, something would come up?
I wonder if everybody just went home.
They probably all just went home after their bank accounts got frozen by the government?
Yeah, I'm sure they had money.
Curious. Like, I haven't heard anything. What's the newest article I can find here? There's a wiki article, which means it's already history. January 29th. Oh, March 5th. The legacy of Canada's Freedom Convoy.
Legacy?
They have 2 things on the main Google page.
Oh.
All right, then.
All right.
Give, send, go to refund Freedom Convoy donors, claims Canada government trying to seize, redistribute millions.
Huh, sounds accurate.
Yeah, we already talked about that with something else, but now this is the give, send, go, because what is this? How did Freedom manage to shut down Ottawa for 3 blah, blah, blah 8 days ago?
I wonder if
there's not a lot about it, Brian. I don't know how far I gotta go. Usually the first Google page would give you the newest shit, you would think. January 29th, March 5th.
Considering those, they pay so much money to Google to have their stuff at the very top of Google.
Here's one from bcsightline.net. Who the hell is this? Freedom Convoy finished in Canada. What was it?
2 years. 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 2 years
Here's how the Freedom Convoy changed Canada.
It's so crazy that people didn't even know what was going on, and then when it's over, they're like, "Oh my God, the state of emergency's over," and then they're like, "Yeah, the Freedom Convoy worked," and then they're like, "The what?" And then they go, "The legacy
the
of the
oil supply."
Yeah, the legacy of the thing we lied about the entire time, and here it is in a nice package bow. The Romans conquered everybody and then told us what to believe. The church did it too, but now I'm not supposed to believe my government's not doing it to me? That's weird. The same narratives you used, or you're not doing it now? Wow, that's weird. It sounds like gaslighting at a mass spec. They literally did mass Stockholm Syndrome on the whole American people and gaslit us for 2 straight years. I'm just supposed to fucking act completely fine. I literally go to stores, I bitch, I hear other people bitching about how expensive things are. I'm tired about it. I told you. We tried. We're like, yo, this is crazy. I don't care about politics. Kim Kardashian's on TV getting divorced from Kanye West. The Tiger King. Do you remember that crazy asshole?
Yeah, but to be fair,
people bought tigers with their stimulus checks. Oh, yeah. And then we're wondering why we got problems in America. But like, no, everything's fine. Grandma's restaurant just closed down and bankrupt the whole family. At least I got a tiger.
You know what's amazing is how much stuff happened over the last 2 years. It's so crazy.
Dude, we went through like 100 years. Yeah, we went through like 100 years of human evolution in 2 years.
And de-evolution.
De-evolution. I actually heard a thing that we're the first generation that will not live longer than our grandparents, than our predecessors.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing at this point.
Because we're a virus. Just kill yourself. So fucked up. These people know what they're doing. They're selling it to us. They dumbed us down on purpose. Speaking of that, I seen a thing on them trying to sell me how tips on saving gas. It was very nice of them to know exactly how I can save and get the most out of all my little gas, but they don't know how inflation works.
Is it the standard, like, make sure your tire pressures are set and don't
take smaller trips, pack lighter stuff? Oh, that's weird.
Smaller trips. Just change your lifestyle.
Yeah, just don't drive to work.
A different house so I drive less.
Yeah, just don't drive to work 3 days a week.
Here's my favorite. You can do the rich Hollywood elitist and just buy a Tesla. Oh, okay. I'll just buy a quick Tesla.
Quick $70,000.
Yeah, I'll just go buy a little Tesla. Nice,
Dave,
affordable Tesla for my middle class family.
If I buy a Tesla, where am I plugging it in? There's no Tesla chargings in my apartment complex.
House.
I have to run an extension cord out there?
Well, you can run a 220 line. Ask your apartment manager if they'll put in a 220 charging line for your Tesla. I'm sure they'll happily do it.
And I'm sure no one else is going to plug their car in there, right? It's just going to be my car on my electricity.
Well, it's going to be... Well, I guess it's going to be owned by the apartment complex. So in theory, other people should be able... But if it's run to your apartment and you're paying electricity... I mean, either way, Ryan, just let people plug in their Tesla.
What happens if the cost of electricity goes up?
Why would it do that, Ryan? Everyone's driving Teslas.
Because we have to buy more power to power the things that the electrical power comes from, Dave. Because electricity isn't just made.
But Ryan, I thought you were an electrician. The electricity comes from your house.
But where does the house get its electricity, Dave?
From the ground.
And where's the ground get its electricity, David?
From solar magnetic energy.
And where is that solar magnetic energy going?
It comes from the sun. We all use solar panels, Ryan.
But China owns all this.
You just run a quick orange extension cord out of the door, plug that bitch into the Tesla, and then at about, because since you're doing it off of 110, it's probably a solid 12-hour charge time. But while you sleep for 12 hours, you plug your Tesla in.
Yeah, you'll wake up, your car will be 56%, but you need 57% to get to work.
You get a lot of mileage on these Teslas now, Ryan. It's not like the old days. You can get 400 miles on a full electrical tank of those bad boys.
You get 400 miles in gas, David. Why do I need a Tesla?
Well, gas is expensive.
Why is gas expensive? All right.
I feel like people don't understand what I'm saying here. You just plug it into your house. I don't know why. And the power grid can definitely handle it if everyone Tesla.
I looked at my older brother this weekend, and I'm like, dude, you're a trades guy too. You learn like stuff with your skills, and you may have not go crazy lengths or done crazy skills, but you've learned like you knew at some level that you could always fall back on working with your hands, and you learned something that you could market, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at my brother. I'm like, I'm so happy we learned skills, dude, because we're so screwed. Like, people don't know how like the real world is actually operating and built and works.
That's weird. Why was that, Ryan? Is that by design?
Yeah, they have not encouraged us, and they've also, we've had luxuries. We have more money, so we can pay people to fix things. But now there's a shortage of blue-collar labor, so less things are actually getting done. Less people are building things, which means less people know how the actual real world has operated. And then the pandemic showed that with all the weaknesses in our infrastructure that I always have to hear about being rebuilt by fucking contractors that aren't government organizations, of course, or aren't special interest groups. These ones are good ones. Yeah, so I'm tired of people complaining about how expensive everything is when this was highly predicted. And all that happened was one guy changed.
Just want to see real quick if I can... How do you... Here, I'm going to put you on real quick. We're just going to build a Tesla real quick. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it. Tesla 3. All right.
Okay.
Order online.
I mean, we don't have to get a Tesla 3. Y is pretty cool.
I need an SUV, David.
The S is cool. I like the S. No,
I need an SUV.
X is the way to go then. Let's custom order.
Yeah, I need one. Like I cannot have a sedan. I don't have
155 miles per hour. That's sweet. 0 to 60, 3.8. Sick. 332 miles range. Great.
All right. What's the price, David?
This one's we're gonna get the Plaid. The Plaid gets you way faster. 2.5. That's speedy. That's only 121, 190. Plaid
130 grand.
No, 121. Cost above includes potential incentives and gas savings of $5,300.
Oh, so nice. it's only $117,000.
No, I think the cost above already includes it. So it's really like 126.
Oh, how nice.
1,020 horsepower. That's sick. High performance motors with carbon sleeved rotors. Ooh, torque vectoring. Nice.
This sounds very modest and middle class, David.
What color are you going with?
This doesn't sound like something that like billionaires would drive or anything.
What color are you like, Ryan?
Like every girl that works at McDonald's should be able to drive one of these, right? This is like that kind of car. That's the vibe I get from a Tesla, right?
This is nice.
Is that you work at McDonald's? Yeah.
We're doing white. Red. We're doing a nice tan interior.
No, white. White, cream
Dude,
guts,
you're in the trades. That's going to be trashed in no time.
It's a Tesla. They probably vacuum themselves.
Ooh, full
self-driving?
Yeah, definitely. Add.
Yeah, I got to be able to sleep because I got to work more to pay.
Payment.
All right, what's the payment?
$149. Only $250 due today, though.
That's not bad. What's my monthly payment?
Well, hold on. This is if you're buying cash, though. Most people are going to lease.
Yeah, what's a lease looking at?
$2,000 a month.
Twice my rent.
Should I order it with card? $2,000 a month. What? Ryan, maybe this isn't the Tesla for you. Should we go back? Let's do a 3. A 3 is an affordable family car. You can still put your kids in there.
All right. Even though I can't fit everything I need to fit in there.
All right. And let's not go for the performance or anything. Let's do a nice long range. No, we're going to just do a plain ass rear wheel drive Model 3.
40K.
Still a respectable 267 miles. Still 5.8 0 to 60 quick. 140 top speed. We're going to do just white because if we add this, it's a $2,000 option. We'll just do white. That's a $1,500 option. I'm out. We're just going to do these standard ass wheels.
Standard.
That's $1,000 extra. So I'm sorry, Ryan. The black interior. We have to be realistic. Self-driving. Sorry, not going to be able to do it. See, that's not bad. That's not bad. $450 a month. You get a plain base Model 3
with perfect credit.
Well. So if you read, it's $4,500 down.
Oh, that's nice.
36, 3 year, only 10,000 mile lease. So hopefully you don't drive that far.
Yeah. I just drive 100 miles a day. So
that does exclude taxes and other fees. It's only available in select states. And
everybody's got $5,000 too. Everybody has $5,000 to put down.
Electronic payments are required. But realistically, about $500 a month. Realistically, when you put, $500 a month, middle class family can do a $500 a month car payment.
That's insane. And they don't even have enough for everybody, even if we all could afford those.
Well, you can see me again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of power grid available for all the Teslas, Ryan. We all get some Model 3s. Just keep it base. Don't add a bunch of stuff to it.
I just can't drive to work. because my lease will be over.
Well, don't put more than 10,000 miles on it per year.
But I have to.
Well, then just move closer. So buy a house.
But
so you're closer to your thing. You don't go over.
But there's a housing shortage
for. Oh. Well, there's got to be apartments closer.
But they're more money.
Oh, well, just a couple extra bucks there. Ryan, we're trying to save money. I feel like you don't understand. We're trying to save money.
And I'm sure when I get the $100 an hour minimum wage job, that will all be okay.
Well, it's 15 right now, but this is why we need minimum wage to go up with inflation, right?
Even though it doesn't outpace inflation.
That totally doesn't create inflation at all, like we haven't seen at all.
Or a labor shortage.
Maybe, Ryan, I've talked myself out of this. Maybe the left doesn't know what they're talking about.
Or they know exactly what they're doing.
Maybe you should buy an old beater for $1,500 and drive it around and just deal with the $5 gas and vote somebody else in next time.
This is insane.
And just hope there's not a safe and secure election like 2020.
Yeah, we got to combat misinformation. It's just crazy. We're watching it speed up. I'm glad that we can joke about it on the other side of this, at least, because it is a little depressing watching everything just go through the fucking stratosphere.
Everyone deals with depression differently.
Yeah.
It's either humor or you can watch my feet swing on the camera.
Yeah, it's one or the other. Like, everything's fine! Bankruptcy, lights are turning off in the background.
Yeah, it's like the meme with the dog and everything's on fire, like...
What's your anxiety attack like? Reading history books gives me PTSD trips now. That's nice. So yeah, I'm not going to beat everything over a dead horse because I think we summarized great. But truth be told, I have a Decembertainment this week. That's not bad, man.
One that was not stolen from you by YouTube.
I wanted to watch. I was going to come on this podcast and talk about how great the Full Send podcast was with Trump because, quite frankly, I miss that guy.
You can still talk about it, just nobody can confirm what you're saying.
I miss him being up there for hours on end, just telling everybody to lick his ass. And there's nothing we can do about it. Because, I'm the president. Remember when he used to have to fight, be like, would you, like, basically shut up?
Yeah. Excuse me. Like, you leave your fake news.
Dude, they wouldn't even let him talk when he was the president-elect. He's like, dude, I'm the second most powerful person in America right now. Like, shut up.
They didn't let him talk when he was the president either, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Full Send podcast was awesome. It's basically a bunch of college frat boys, it looked like, that were scratching their balls, smelling like jockstraps, sitting at Mar-a-Lago, sucking beers with the former president, even though Trump don't drink. And Trump just up there swinging at everything. Russia collusion.
What difference does it make, Ryan? What are they going to do? Take him off Twitter?
Oh, God. He called out the video getting pulled. But I was going to come up here and just, like, tell you guys about how great it was to go check it out. But it's gone. It's literally gone. It's evaporated. It didn't exist. It's just misinformation that wasn't. None of it was true. And then I got to read the news articles. What's funny is, like, not only did they just erase it from history like Winston literally does in 1984, but then they release news articles after, which is exactly what Winston does in 1984, telling you about the event that is erased, exactly what Winston does in 1984. And then they draft narratives and try to disprove the president, even though you can't even go there to see if what he said was even disprovable, which is exactly what Winston does in 1984. Can't wait for the feminine version when Winston gets her period.
YouTube has ruined Decembertainment. Decembertainment was usually a nice, calm way to bring the show to a close.
Yeah, they stole it from me.
They stole Decembertainment.
I didn't actively look for it either. It came to me. The universe provided. The algorithm gave it to me.
Just like it's supposed to.
Just like the way it's supposed to. I naturally found this thing. It had 1 million views, just over 1 million, 1.2 or something. Watch, it came out that day, like hours, right? 1 million views. I'm like, holy shit. Subscribe to their channel. I'm listening to it. I was 10 minutes in and Trump is just there. That baseball meme that you always, or the golf one of him just drilling balls with the faces up. That was him 10 minutes in. I sent it to everybody. I was
you know what they should do? Because Donald Trump, if that podcast was that popular, Donald Trump was the second most elected person in history. They should do one with Biden. Could you imagine all the views he would get? Because he's more popular than Trump. He won the election.
Yeah, they'd probably have to ban that for misinformation, right? Just naturally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Why don't they ban the
watching
president? Why don't they just cut the feeds of everybody right away that are spouting misinformation? Wouldn't that stop? Coming soon. They should just be able to cut you instantly when you're.
We should have just ended the podcast as a joke.
I have an actual real Decembertainment as a recycled.
Good. Don't worry, Ryan. Despite YouTube trying to steal his
they did. A robot stole from me. Not even a robot. All of the robots. All of the future collective AI robots that don't exist, that steal everything, stole from me.
Don't worry, Ryan's.
It was Joe Rogan. Now it's the algorithm. I'm coming for this thing. This war helmet is like printed with Matrix technology. So my real Decembertainment this weekend is I went over to my brother's house the other day. I got the kids together, did awesome stuff like that. So, as adults, kind of wind down at the end of the night. They're like, you want to play a little Mario game? I was like, sure, man. I like the Nintendo Switch. Mm-hmm. Mario Golf, dude.
Ooh, okay.
Fantastic.
Is it?
It's like Tiger Woods. You ever played Tiger Woods games?
No.
Okay. A lot like the Tiger Woods games, just a lot simpler. Like, there's not so much of, like, the extra, but it's the same principle.
Sure, when you're putting, checking the lines of the putts.
Yeah, that's all there, but it's not, like, freaking, like, it gets hard. We played, like, the hardest board and stuff. It's hard, all that, but it's all there. But it's just, like, the way it's presented is simplified. Mm-hmm. So it made it real fun. It's awesome. Mario, all the crazy colors and everything else. Pretty cool. I don't play many video games, so just be able to like relax. We kind of basically just sucked a couple beers and relax, let the kids do their thing. We kind of were just laughing, having fun, and forget that we're adults for the afternoon. And I had a good time with him in particular, and just the game is pretty cool. I don't think I'll buy it or something, but I'm sure this game will be at like a Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese, because I know they've done that with other Mario games in the past, but that's
they had Olympics, Mario and Sonic Olympics or something. It was fun. Yeah,
that's exactly the vibe I like got. I'm like, this is going to be the same kind of thing. Like, you go to Dave & Buster's and there's like 4 of them, so you can like stand there, maybe even give you like a place to swing or something. And but yeah, it was very cool. It was obviously different. That's all I got for you guys. Dave and Ryan, December 17th.
Wait. What if I was Decembertained?
You had a detainment of December?
Well, here's the thing, Ryan.
Did you see Batman before me?
No.
Oh.
No.
You shouldn't come on here and just squash it and steal my
Let's go see it, Ryan.
Let's go. We'll go see Batman.
All right, we'll go see Batman. No, I also have video game Decembertainment because I've been a lifelong fan of the Gran Turismo racing series.
Hey.
The new one is out. It's tremendous. The reason I brought it up, though, is because I got a trophy. You know how your profile can get trophies when you do certain things?
Yeah.
I bought a Tesla in the game, and I got a carbon neutral trophy.
Okay.
So that's good. Now, let me explain the hilarious reason why I bought the Tesla. In certain races, right, they have realistic tire wear and fuel usage, and you have to go to pits and get your tires changed and put new fuel in the car and then whatever. So strategically, I was like, I wonder if the game lets me use an electric car and then I'll never have to pit. Right?
And
I thought I was going to beat the game. I went 2 laps. I ran out of juice.
So what you're saying is the electric vehicle doesn't have enough power to drive as fast as it wants around the track.
Yeah, and it gets better when you go to the pits. It doesn't let you charge in a fast charger or anything. You're just out of juice. You can end the show, Ryan. Do your outro.
Can't wait for that Elon Musk DLC that they installed Tesla quick chargers in the lane at Gran Turismo Alley. Dave and Ryan, December 1773. Thank you all for watching, especially on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Not like they matter anymore because they're dead to me.
But thank you for any support, even if it is on dumb Facebook or dumb YouTube.
Yeah, they can really fuck off now. Honestly, it's war. It's war. I mean, these people
are for your mind.
These people know what they're doing. I love you guys. Thank you for your support as always. Me and Dave always appreciate your time. Thank you if you made it to the end. I appreciate that the most. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. We always brag it. But see you guys later. Enjoy your week, and see you guys on the premiere on Monday, 7 Eastern.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brian.
Later.